Would you consider failing 70% of the time a success? I would. Hi, I'm Tim Kintz, and years ago I had a baseball coach that used to tell us that he wasn't as worried or focused on our successes as he was on how we bounce back from our failures. You know, it was in baseball that I really learned that failing is just part of the game. You know, as a hitter, if I fail 70% of the time, am I going to be any good? Yeah, I'm going to probably be a Hall of Famer. Man, if I can hit 300, that means I failed 70% of the time. And you think about a hitter in baseball. They may go 0 for 4. They may strike out 4 times in a row. They may fly out, ground out. But when they get in a batter's box that next time, on that 5th at bat, do they focus on their last 2 or 3 or 4 at bats, or are they focusing on their current at bat? Isn't it all about their current at bat? And if they're worrying about their previous at bat, they're going to go 0 for 5 and 0 for 6 and 0 for 7. It's all about the moment. Forget about my failures of the past. How am I going to bounce back? How do I make sure my head's right and my attitude right? And that's really what our coach always wanted us to focus on. Look, we're going to fail. How do we bounce back from that so we can keep succeeding and keep winning? And you know, in sales, isn't it pretty much the same way? You know, if I go out and talk to 10 people and I fail 70% of the time, am I doing a good job or bad job? Isn't that a pretty good job? I mean, that's a 30% closing ratio. And in our industry, give or take, averages around 20, 25%. So if I'm at 30, 35%, 40%, that means I'm above the industry average. So I'm still failing 60 or 70% of the time. So the question is always, how are you bouncing back from those failures? When you're making your outgoing calls to unsold customers, working prospect calls, you might have 7 of them say, no, I'm not coming back. But if you keep making those calls, you're gonna have 3 of them of the 10 that actually do come back. When you're prospecting back in service, doing your vehicle exchange program, look, you're only gonna succeed 15 to 20% of the time when you're presenting vehicle exchange options to customers. How are you handling those 80% of the time when you don't succeed? And you know, the real answer comes down to your attitude. It comes down to your attitude, your effort, and your focus. Making sure that you take that check up from the neck up before you take your next up. It's no different than me getting in the batter's box and saying, you know what, that last at bat didn't matter. You know, that guy struck me out on that curveball. It's not going to happen this time. I am going to get a hit. It's all that positive talk. You know, the best athletes will always tell you that they don't talk about what's going to go wrong. They don't say, I hope I don't miss this pitch. They say, I'm going to hit this pitch. Same thing with us. When you walk out to that next customer, it's not, I hope this isn't a tough customer. It's, I'm going to close this deal. I'm going to make this deal happen. When you pick that phone up to call that unsold customer, that guy that just left without buying, it's not, I hope they come back. It's, I'm getting this guy back in. You know what? If this guy doesn't get back in here and buy our car from us right now, he's making the biggest mistake of his life. And that's what your attitude's got to be. It's got to be your attitude. It's got to be your beliefs. When you're prospecting back in service, doing vehicle exchange options, it's, of course, these people need to get out of their old car into a new one because that's the best option for them. It's no different than the guy in the batter's box saying, you know what? I'm gonna hit a home run this time. So you know what? Next time you go out and talk to that customer, you're gonna hit a home run, you're gonna close the deal. When you pick that phone up, you're gonna get the customer back into the dealership. When you talk to that next customer back in service on the vehicle exchange program, you're gonna close them. And when you have that attitude and realize failure is stepping stones to success, that's when you're gonna hit the big time.